It is more than just a battle. It's the epic conclusion to the Roman Empire, the dawn of the Renaissance, and the event that redrew the map of the world. So, let's set the stage. Picture it, the mid-15th century. The Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of the mighty Roman Empire, is now just a shadow of its former self. It's basically just the city of Constantinople and a few scattered territories. But what a city! Constantinople was a fortress, a legend. It was protected by massive, triple-layered walls that had stood unconquered for over 1,000 years. It was the heart of Orthodox Christianity, a beacon of culture and wealth, even in its decline. Inside these legendary walls is the last Roman emperor, Constantine XI. He's facing an impossible situation. His empire has shrunk, his allies are distant, and he is staring down one of the most ambitious and powerful rulers of the age, Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed, just 21 years old, is brilliant, driven, and absolutely obsessed with one goal: conquering Constantinople. To his people, it was the red apple, the ultimate prize. Taking it wasn't just about military victory, it was about fulfilling a prophecy, about establishing the Ottoman Empire as the dominant power in the world. And Mehmed wasn't coming to play. He assembled a massive army, numbering somewhere between 80,000 and 200,000 soldiers, a force that vastly outnumbered Constantinople's defenders. The defenders? A mere 7,000 to 10,000 men. A mix of Byzantine soldiers, foreign volunteers, and brave civilians, led by their emperor, who refused to abandon his city. It was a true David versus Goliath scenario, but this David was defending the greatest fortress on earth. The siege began in early April 1453. But Mehmed had a secret weapon, something that would change the very nature of warfare: cannons. Not just any cannons, but super guns. He had hired a brilliant Hungarian engineer named Orban to build him the most powerful artillery the world had ever seen. One of these behemoths, nicknamed the Basilica, was so massive it could fire a 1,200-pound stone ball over a mile. The sound of these cannons was terrifying, a thunderous roar that shook the city day and night. For the first time in history, the legendary walls of Theodosius, which had repelled countless armies, began to crumble. But the defenders were resilient. Under the leadership of Emperor Constantine and a skilled Genos commander named Giovanni Giustiniani, they fought with incredible courage. Every night, they would rush out under the cover of darkness to repair the walls, patching up the gaping holes created by the cannons. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and exhausted, but their spirit was unbreakable. Mehmed realized that a direct assault on the land walls alone might not be enough. He needed to control the sea, specifically the Golden Horn, Constantinople's natural harbor. But there was a problem. The entrance to the Golden Horn was blocked by a massive iron chain, preventing the Ottoman fleet from entering. So, Mehmed devised one of the most audacious plans in military history. If he couldn't sail his ships past the chain, he would take them overland. Yes, you heard that right. He ordered his engineers to build a massive road of greased logs, stretching for miles over a hill. Then his men, with the help of oxen and sheer manpower, literally dragged 70 of his warships out of the water, up the hill, and down into the Golden Horn. Imagine the shock and horror of the defenders waking up one morning to see the Ottoman fleet floating in their supposedly secure harbor. It was a psychological masterpiece, a move that shattered the morale of the besieged city. Now, they were surrounded on all sides, with no hope of relief. The siege dragged on for 53 grueling days. The cannon fire was relentless. Food and supplies dwindled. The defenders were pushed to their absolute limits. On May 29, 1453, Mehmed knew the time was right for the final, all-out assault. In the pre-dawn darkness, the attack began. Waves of Ottoman soldiers charged the battered walls. The first waves were irregular troops, sent to exhaust the defenders. Then came the elite Anatolian regiments. The fighting was brutal, hand to hand, a desperate struggle for every inch of the wall. The defenders, despite their exhaustion, held on, repelling wave after wave. Giustiniani, the Genoese commander, was a lion on the battlefield, inspiring his men. But then disaster struck. Giustiniani was severely wounded. His withdrawal from the front line caused a moment of panic and confusion among the defenders. At that critical moment, a small group of elite Ottoman soldiers, the Janissaries, found a small, unlocked gate. It was a postern gate called the Kirkaporta, possibly left open by accident. They poured through. Once inside, they raised the Ottoman banner on the walls. The sight of the flag sent a wave of despair through the defenders, and a surge of victory through the attackers. The lines broke. The city had fallen. Emperor Constantine XI, seeing that all was lost, threw off his imperial regalia and charged into the fray, fighting and dying alongside his last soldiers. His body was never definitively identified, and he passed into legend as the last Roman emperor. The fall of Constantinople was a cataclysm. For 3 days, the city was subjected to plunder, as was the custom of the time. But what came next is what truly changed the world. First, the end of an empire. The Byzantine Empire, the direct continuation of the Roman Empire for 1,000 years, was gone forever. An entire civilization, a link to the ancient world, was extinguished. Second, the dawn of a new age. The fall of the city sent shockwaves through Europe. Scholars, artists, and intellectuals fled Constantinople, carrying with them priceless ancient Greek and Roman manuscripts. They flocked to Italy and other parts of Europe, fueling the intellectual fire of the Renaissance. This flood of classical knowledge helped spark a revolution in art, science, and philosophy that defined the modern Western world. Third, the age of exploration. For centuries, European trade with Asia flowed through Constantinople. Now, with the city under Ottoman control, that route was effectively closed. European powers like Portugal and Spain were forced to find new sea routes to the east. This desperate search for a new path to the riches of Asia led directly to Columbus sailing west in 1492 and Vasco da Gama rounding Africa. The fall of one city literally launched the age of discovery, connecting the hemispheres and creating the globalized world we know today. And finally, the shift in military technology. The siege proved that even the mightiest medieval walls were no match for gunpowder artillery. The age of castles and fortifications was over. The era of the cannon had begun, changing the face of warfare forever. So, the fall of Constantinople wasn't just a battle. It was the domino that toppled the old world and set in motion the events that created our modern one. It was the end of Rome, the catalyst for the Renaissance, the spark for the Age of Discovery, and the dawn of gunpowder warfare. All from one incredible 53-day siege. What do you think is the most significant consequence of this event? Let me know in the comments below. History is full of these incredible turning points, and this is truly one of the greatest. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that shaped our world. See you next time.